Whether Meghan Markle will ever grasp the weight of the cultural backlash she sparked is uncertain, but Jon Stewart, in a fiery segment on The Daily Show, made one thing unmistakably clear. He's had enough. In a blistering monologue that shocked even his own audience, Stewart not only distanced himself from the MAGA crowd's obsession with owning the royals, but also held Meghan Markle squarely accountable for what he dubbed Hollywood's most expensive misfire. His message: we don't need this narcissistic theater dressed up as progress. From the start, Stewart didn't mince words. This isn't about left versus right, he began. It's about integrity versus image. And frankly, the Harry and Meghan experiment has turned into a disaster, one that both sides of the political aisle are shamefully exploiting. The veteran comedian, known for blending satire with biting truth, made it clear that the constant weaponizing of the Sussexes, particularly Meghan, as symbols of cultural warfare has eroded public discourse, not enhanced it. But Stewart's real target wasn't just the political weaponization. It was Meghan's self-branding as a feminist icon, humanitarian, and truth-teller, while operating in what he called a vacuum of accountability. He cited the couple's Netflix series, multiple PR flops, and their $20 million Spotify deal that ended prematurely, calling them prime examples of Hollywood style with no substance. He mocked the now-defunct Archetypes podcast, noting, "It was supposed to deconstruct labels but ended up reinforcing the one Meghan can't let go of, victim." Perhaps most telling was Stewart's sharp comparison between Meghan's curated public persona and her behind-the-scenes moves, many of which have come under increased scrutiny. He highlighted former staff allegations of bullying, the controversial claims made in the Oprah interview, and the now-exposed contradictions surrounding the timeline of royal events. "It's not about taking down a woman," Stewart clarified. "It's about holding someone accountable who's been handed the world stage and still plays the martyr." The Daily Show host also criticized the MAGA base's obsession with Meghan, especially their penchant for using her story as a political punching bag. "Let's be real," he said. "MAGA doesn't care about monarchy, racism, or royal protocol. They care about anything that stirs the pot. And Meghan makes a great villain for all the wrong reasons." But even as he skewered the right's hypocrisy, Stewart insisted that progressives stop giving Meghan a free pass. "Blind support is no better than blind hate," he said. "Both lead us to ignore facts." The episode gained traction fast, trending within hours on Twitter, now X, with a wide cross-section of viewers applauding Stewart's fearless commentary. Even longtime Sussex supporters admitted that the tide has turned. Meghan's recent attempt to rebrand with her new lifestyle line and the as-ever rose wine was roasted by critics and mocked by consumers alike. Stewart quipped, "When your wine gets worse reviews than boxed supermarket brands, maybe it's time to stop blaming the palace and start looking in the mirror." And Stewart wasn't done. He concluded by revisiting Meghan's campaign-style appearances in recent months, including her controversial trip to Nigeria, a visit many called an unofficial royal tour. "It's cosplay diplomacy," Stewart said. "You can't call yourself a private citizen and then act like a global head of state. Pick a lane." In a world dominated by curated Instagram feeds, media spin, and performative activism, Stewart's take was refreshing in its raw honesty. He didn't excuse the racism Meghan faced, he condemned it. But he made a point that few on the left dare voice. Being a victim of one injustice does not absolve someone of all responsibility thereafter. His words resonate now more than ever as Meghan and Harry find themselves increasingly isolated from Hollywood, from the British royal family, and now, evidently, from a growing segment of the public. Stewart's monologue signals a turning point not just for the Sussexes' brand, but for the public's appetite for performative victimhood masked as empowerment. In a final jab, Stewart offered a piece of biting satire. "Maybe we should stop calling them Duke and Duchess and start calling them what they really are: influencer and inflamed. Whether Meghan will respond or retreat into silence is anyone's guess. But one thing is certain. When even Jon Stewart, a man known for cutting through political and cultural noise with clarity, calls time on the Sussex spectacle, maybe it's finally time for the rest of us to log off, tune out, and demand more from our so-called icons. Because if Jon Stewart, hardly a mouthpiece for tabloid sensationalism, is publicly pulling the curtain back on Meghan and Harry's polished yet hollow narrative, What does that say about how far this charade has truly gone? It's not just a matter of failed branding or overexposure, it's about a breach of public trust. People believed in Meghan's message of empowerment and progress. But after a trail of contradictions, abandoned partnerships, tone-deaf launches, and endless grievances disguised as growth, the public is left wondering, was any of it genuine? Stewart's words sting because they're grounded in reality. He's not peddling conspiracy or indulging palace drama. He's demanding consistency and authenticity from people who insist on occupying the global stage. And in doing so, he has tapped into a collective fatigue. Fatigue with victimhood marketed as virtue. Fatigue with glossy veneers masking entitlement. And fatigue with elites demanding sympathy while cashing checks bigger than the GDP of some small countries. So perhaps Stewart's stand isn't just about the Sussexes, it's about all of us waking up. Celebrities are not saviors. Platforms are not proof of purpose. And clout doesn't equal character. The Meghan and Harry experiment was sold as revolution, but it's looking more and more like just another reality show we've all seen before.